Good evening. My name is Melissa Peña, and I was born on May 28, 1993. I was born 5 minutes later. My name is Yaritza Peña. We're identical twins. I was born in Boston into a large family. There was my mother, my father, my 12-year-old brother, my 7-year-old sister, and yes, my younger sister, Yaritza. My parents had moved to Boston from the Dominican Republic just after getting married. Slowly, both sides of the family came to Boston, and now we live among a big group of relatives who moved to America for a better life for themselves and for their children. Life in a family of 6 was difficult, and both of my parents always seemed to be working. My mom was a seamstress at first, and also a child care provider, and my dad was a maintenance worker. Before I was old enough to be home on my own, my mom would drop me off early for morning care before school, and then she would shuffle me off between after-school programs into my aunt's before arriving home to go to bed. Growing up as a twin was kinda, sorta, maybe a little bit difficult. Tell me about it. With what limited money there was in our home, my parents were especially careful about making me share with my sister, and often we would both go without something rather than only be able to afford one. Financially, everything seemed to be a struggle. Things went from difficult to worse when we were in the 5th grade. That year, my father was in a really bad car accident, and he was hospitalized for weeks and was no longer able to work and soon had to retire. Throughout this struggle, my mom was very clear that education was very important. When I was in the 10th grade, she decided to go back to school herself to get her associate's degree in early child care. School was especially difficult for her because of the language barrier, and I remember staying up late with her some nights, translating some of her assignments into Spanish. I went to the John D. O'Brien High School. I really loved it there, and the school loved me too. I had the perfect personality to succeed. More than once, I partnered with my sister to fool a teacher and to prove that you can actually be in more than one place at a time. During my junior year, I was on the number 32 bus heading home when I happened to sit next to a girl who was a year older than I. She said that she was really stressed out because she was trying to choose what colleges to apply to, and she said something that I will never forget. Next year, you should be sure to go to this place called Bottom Line because they're a great help. After that, throughout the next year, I kept hearing the name Bottom Line over and over until finally it was my turn. I brought down a group of friends to the Bottom Line office, determined to find out what it was all about. Soon enough, I was enrolled and was assigned to a counselor named Shanita. My counselor was Stephanie. They were awesome. As you can imagine, my sister and I had been close all these years, but we decided that we would go through the college process separately, trying not to get steered to go to the same college. So we created our own separate college application lists and didn't share them with one another. But as it turns out, my sister and I think a lot like me. And independently, we came up with many of the same schools. Actually, she thinks a lot like me. From start to finish, Bottom Line was there to help me through the college application process. They created a personal plan to help me manage my ideas and combine them with my family's needs. My mother especially wanted me to stay close. Probably the most important part of the process was figuring out how to pay for school. My mom said things like, "We'll figure it out," or "I got this," but I knew it was going to be a struggle because there were 2 of us. Bottom Line was right there the whole time, helping with the FAFSA, scholarship applications, and interpreting school letters. When it came down to decision time, I found myself choosing between UMass Amherst and Bentley University. Coincidentally, I was also choosing between UMass Amherst and Bentley University. Now, all I needed was a few $1,000s. Working with our Bottom Line counselors, together we wrote an appeal letter to the financial aid office describing our financial situation and hoping for the best. I am pleased to say that recognizing that 2 is almost always as better than as 1, Bentley ultimately granted each of us a $34,000 scholarship, and we had found our new home. What a great deal
For Bentley.
I was admitted to Bentley through the Summer STEP program, which required me to attend during the summer for 6 weeks in order to become accustomed to the Bentley campus. Even so, when the semester started in the fall, I still found it extremely challenging, and am so thankful that Bottom Line still sends a counselor to see me. Every few weeks, Christy is in the campus center, checking up on me and the other students at Bentley. Just recently, she helped me renew my FAFSA, making sure that my financial aid will be A-okay. I am 8 months into my first year at Bentley, and I am sure that I am doing the right thing. I have learned about business professions and careers that I didn't even know existed. I have offered to return to the STEP program and be a tutor this summer to work with the students of the class of 2012. I find myself stuck in a world between cultures. Even today, my father doesn't really understand what it is I do off at college. He will never understand why I decided not to share a dorm room with my sister.
But we do.
When I return home, our family and friends who didn't follow the same path find it confusing, and I often downplay my college experience and act differently to be sure I still fit in. But when on campus, I am surrounded by a different group of friends and can act overjoyed with the experience of college. We have many people to thank that have helped us make it this far, but I would like to take this moment to thank my mother and father who were able to join us tonight because they never stopped pushing us toward their dream. Their dream that one of their children would make it to college. The third time's the charm.
And the fourth.
Gracias, mami, papi.
Gracias por todo.
We would now like to invite up all of the other Bentley students and alumni who have been able to join us tonight. So on behalf of the 37 Bottom Line students currently at Bentley and the 35 Bottom Line alumni who have graduated in the last 10 years, we want to thank President Gloria Larson for making sure that Bentley has the courage to take a chance on students like us and to prove that extra resources and understanding to ensure a bridge exists between the worlds that we live in.